guys? It's me again. Back to kind of show you a little bit different setup that I got going on. It seems to work actually a little bit better than my old one. So I thought I'd go ahead and make a quick video kind of explaining the pros, cons, etc., etc. So I get right down to the traits. They are a little bit different than what I guess most of the quote-unquote cookie cutter specs are. But again, as I've said before, the spec works for me. Play style, I'm comfortable with it, and just overall seems like a pretty decent spec. This one isn't going to give you outstanding damage, but you're not going to be bottom end either. Being that the maps in structured PvP, tourney PvP, etc. Well, I can't say tourney because I personally don't do tourney so far. I'm trying to find that perfect spec, so that's why I'm coming up with this one. But structured PvP is all objective based, so I try to find something that is strong. In the sense I can take a beating, but I can still kind of keep people on their toes in order to live. And so far, like I said, this one's worked pretty well. So as you can see, traits are 10, 25, 25, 0, and 10. Now, some people might ask, why don't I have any points in inspiration? 5 points, retaliation, defense. The 15 points are regeneration to nearby. Now myself, I play a setup, as you can kind of tell with my points. I play a setup that I keep my illusions up as much as I possibly can. The reason being, if you look down here under the illusions traits, 3% more damage per illusion, whether that be a fan or a clone. Either one, it stacks 9% extra damage. So that's just a little added bonus. And then on top of it, in the chaos tree, 3% reduced damage. So I take a total of 9% less damage from all outgoing. Keep in mind that that's on top of my chaos armor, the chaos storm when I drop it, the additional toughness, and I will get into the runes I use because it all kind of ties together in the end. Works rather well. So I'll go ahead and go through each one. Of course, the 5 points in domination, you need that because of powered illusions. I have that just to get that a little extra additional damage. 15% more damage from 3 different illusions at one time is a decent chunk. Granted, clones and fants are so for longevity, so you got to kind of watch how you're using them, but in the end it works out nicely. Fans, of course, you get the vigor for endurance, which is nice. Your fans have fury, which is a given. We all know that. It's nice when they crit, because when they crit, they inflict bleeding, another condition, another effect on the enemy. And then I have the create a clone at current position when I dodge. The reason, like I said, I keep as many illusions up as possible, whether it's a clone or a fant, it does not matter. It kind of does. It's nice to have the fants up, but it's with this play style, it works. Because in the end, the last 5 points, as you see, when an illusion is killed, clone or a fant, it's 3 seconds of confusion. Nice, because they're doing damage to themselves when they're using abilities. It's, they kill one, that's 3 seconds. They kill another 3 seconds, another 3 seconds. And I just keep rolling out the clones. It's also nice because it keeps people kind of confused in the sense of who I am. And I guess I'll go on a little tangent here, but what I do, like I explained before, if I'm noticing someone is not falling for the little clone trick, I simply use decoy. If they've got me targeted, got the big red circle above my head, I hit decoy, it will remove that, and 9 times out of 10 they're going to focus on one of my clones, and then they got to try to figure out who I am all over again. Back into the tree, 10 seconds of regeneration, health reduces to 75%. It's a nice little regen, which falls in nicely with the 15 points, 2 seconds of protection. a little added survivability. I already went over the illusionary defense, extra 9% damage reduction. And then again, for the survivability, I get a 50 plus 50 toughness when wielding a staff, and I use a staff and sword pistol as my main weapon setup. And then I go all the way into transference. 5% of my toughness is given as a bonus to condition damage. And you'll see with my runes how this kind of plays in. I use the Runes of Undead for condition and toughness. So, and then of course I went down here and I showed you the 10 points I've got down in here. Now to go over, once again, as I said, the superior rune of the undead, I use all 6. Plenty of condition damage, plenty of toughness. It allows me to dish out a decent amount of damage. I'm not going to be like a thief or a DPS warrior. You know, you're not going to do that with this spec. But you will live through their beaten the majority of time. As long as you know when to use your abilities correctly, you'll live through it and you'll still be dishing out damage to them. And then the 6th rune, as you can see, 5% of toughness becomes condition damage. So with that, and with the trait over here, that's a total of an additional 10% of my toughness is given as condition damage. And when I was playing around, I figured it out. It's about an extra 150, 160 condition damage. I don't actually have a buttload of condition damage. If you look, I'm sitting at 564, which is kind of middle ground. I went with a full condition spec before, and using the same ruins, a different setup to go all out with condition, and I only got an extra, I believe it was about 200 more condition damage points. So, but my survivability dropped. And I, like I said before, I'm not a real fan of the so-called shatter spec. It's just not me. It's kind of an easy mode spec. I guess a lot of people said, I think I've tried it maybe once or twice. Wasn't feeling it. I like this spec. I like using my illusions. I like using my shatters as I need to. I love being able to call in clones as I need to, whether it's to use an ability or a simple dodge to bring one up. There's so much utility with this setup, at least in my opinion. It's pretty fun. I also, if you look down here at my utilities, of course, Ether Feast, I've always got my illusions up 95% of the time, so I'm getting that extra heal per illusion. So I'm topping about 7.5 for heals. My improving condition damage, that on top of the stun effect, which is something that comes in handy quite often. I've got my decoy, as I explained. I use that for kind of an oh shit situation, or to kind of deter people, try to put them off target. It works majority of the time. And then, of course, we all know the null field. A must-have for, I believe, almost any setup you want this. It's wonderful. And then in the end, the morph. A lot of people say that's kind of the noob ability, but in all actuality, it is a damn good ability. It is, I guess many people would say overpowered. I would say I have to agree. I mean, 10 seconds where they can't basically do anything and you're able to beat down on them. A very nice ability. I will swap between this and Time Warp depending on the group that I'm in with. How things are running, if I feel it's a little better. Now, when I use MOA, the only time I actually cast it is after I've hit decoy. MOA can be evaded. They can dodge out of it. They can stealth out of it. If they see you casting it and they do some evasive maneuver, it will not land and you've just wasted it. So time it out. Myself, I time it out. As soon as I hit decoy, boom, I hit morph on them. Job done. Of course, I've got my sword, my pistol. As you can see with this setup, I've also got 2 stuns. I've got the stun off my signet, and then I've also got the stun off my magic bullet, and then the daze and the blinded, which comes in handy. many times. I will usually try to use my magic bullet, illusionary leap into a blurred frenzy. I will swap over into my staff and phase retreat and go from there, depending on the situation, what kind of clones I have set up. It gets me in, does the damage, gets me back out, and I'm not hit. A busy group, I'll pop chaos armor before I hop out, and it might sound weird to do that in that order. The reason I do it that order is because if people are trying to beat on me, when you've got chaos armor on, every time they hit you, they're giving you a buff and debuffing or putting a condition on themselves and putting a boon on you. Then I'll retreat out. I've come to the conclusion that I also like to use. I don't use the mine rack. I do once in a while. If I see someone getting low on health, I'll pop it. But about 80-85% of the time, good. I use the cry of frustration. That confusion, I've kind of grasped the whole concept of it. Comes in handy. It really does. It is nice. It does stack. So if that confusion amount is doubled or added to, very nice to have. I never use 3. It's a waste of a global. It's a waste of my clones. That's just my opinion. Others might have a different way. With my setup, a waste of time. Number 4, I do use this once in a while. I try not to blow all 3 clones on it. I use it just kind of as an oh shit kind of thing, just to kind of get some evasion. Once in a while I'll use all 3 because it is only 1 second, but usually I'll pop it and then again I'll hit phase retreat or decoy, some way to kind of get out. If I've got my sword and pistol sitting up at that time, I'll just use my blurred frenzy and start going to town. But my main one that I use is the cry of frustration. It comes in handy, works very nice. Is there anything else? I guess I'll let you kind of look at my stats a little bit. Like I said, they're nothing spectacular. This is kind of a build where you kind of you give some, you take some. It's the middle of the ground. It offers a good amount of survivability, a decent amount of damage, and for the maps that are played objective oriented, you want to be able to keep your ass in that spot as long as you possibly can without going down, so that way your teammates can get in or you can possibly take the person down yourself. So that's why I've come up with this setup trait system. And it works for me. It may not work for others. I've checked many other specs out and I've tried them thinking, they looked good. I've checked out videos, they worked. And when I went to try them, I just squashed on it. And it's because the play style I'm used to. But I've got power. You can see my power, my precision, toughness, my vitality. If you can look, I've got I got 21,500 health, which is pretty decent. So it takes a lot to get that health down on top of the amount of toughness I have. So with them 2 combined, I can take that beating. My attack, if you look, 305, all this is with my staff. My attack's okay, but again, my condition damage is kind of middle of the ground. I just happen to have 16% to my crit. Nothing major. I don't focus on crit, on precision. With this setup, it doesn't do a whole lot. It's nice to have the bigger hits, but it doesn't do a whole lot. My armor, of course, 2830, and my health, 21,522. My weapons, I've kind of gone with the cookie cutter 5% damage on the blade, and then my pistol, I use a 15% stun duration, which works well because, again, I have 2 different stuns. I got my magic bullet and I got my signets, so it's nice. It adds to that. And then my great sword, I go ahead and use the 5% damage as well, just to add in a little bit of extra damage. I don't want to rely on putting a specific condition damage rune in there, or something that's procced off a crit. I used to have the heal on crit, and someone had pointed out in one of my videos, which made a whole lot of sense, that I was sitting, I think, at 11 or 14% crit and only getting a 30% chance off a crit. Made absolutely no sense. So I went ahead and dropped it. I did a little bit of looking, and thanks to that person for pointing it out for me. All learning. I'm still learning. I'm by no means a professional. I'm just another gamer, just playing along, trying to enjoy the game, and when I find something that works, I go ahead and throw it out to you guys, and hopefully you guys enjoy it and walk away with some knowledge from it. You know, feel free to leave criticism from me, critiques. Let me know if you see something that might work a little better. Like I said, the play style I have, this seems to work fairly decent for me. I can't see why it wouldn't work for most other people. I know most Mesmers run at least a staff and then either a great sword or a sword pistol. I know there's a few other specs out there as well, but I think them are pretty much the main ones. So this spec should work with almost all the weapon setups, as long as you're using the staff, because once again, you're using toughness, and being that your staff is what gives you the condition damage, that's why I have that on top of the additional 5% there, and the 5% from my runes, so that extra 10% on top of, you know, the damage. And as you can see here with my damage right now unbuffed, you know, usually when you're in a match, you get random boons, so these amounts do jump up. Keep in mind, might increases condition damage. So when you're actually running out there, you're fighting people and you're kind of clobbering and you're getting the different boons, your condition damage, like I said, right now is sitting at 564. It will go up as you get more might, or whatever other boons you may see fit to grab. Chaos armor, of course, protection, regen, swiftness, your storm, same thing. These are all random boons that you get throughout the game. They stack very nice. I think you kind of get the idea. So I'll go ahead and throw some quick footage of this setup in following here. Feel free to leave any comments, questions. Be sure to like and sub to the channel. Feel free to share if you'd like to. Trying to get my sub count up. So the more support I had, the more I know I need to keep these videos coming out and letting people know, I guess, kind of the Mesmer style. So enjoy, and here you go with a little bit of PvP footage with this setup.